we're actually talking about the system of systems, and specifically I'll be talking about the system of engagement, how the various customers and users within the utility sector can actually be able to use this system that we're calling the system of engagement. And when Biko was doing the introduction, he actually told us that we'll keep on referring to this system of systems. So Godfrey took us through the system of record, mainly how we can be able to manage and integrate the various data sets. So the next bit is now the system of engagement. And I really like the fact that Amalie already took us through some of the things they're doing as MTN in terms of engaging customers and even improving collaboration within the organization. So what the system of engagement ideally means is that being able to empower our clients, or being able to enable the various users to leverage on this system of systems, that's the ArcGIS system, to share information within the various organizations, within the various departments, increase collaboration between departments. So for instance, maybe for a utility company, we have the inspection department, we have the engineering department, we have the customer service. So ideally what we are saying is having this system of systems, and specifically the system of engagement, enhancing sharing, collaboration, and dissemination of information. Of course, information is really key. So as we get into the system of engagement, there are actually various phases. Organizations have various phases. If we look at the entire system of engagement, there are various tasks, various responsibilities that are carried out by different departments, different people within the organization. And for this particular one, we are specifically looking at the utilities segment. So right from the planning segment, which is really important. So with this, what we are calling the system of engagement under the system of systems, you're able to use location to assign and coordinate the various field activities. I'm sure for any organization at any given time, there are various roles, there are various tasks, there are various responsibilities that ought to be undertaken at the same time. So with this system that we're calling the system of engagement, we have various functionalities and capabilities within the system that enable you to prioritize tasks. Of course, various tasks will have various urgencies and deadlines, so you're able to plan, and of course with the location element. Then the other bit now, moving from the planning bit, is the navigation. So assuming you have assigned a task or tasks to members of your team, maybe the inspection team, those teams, the teams that are doing meter readings, those that are doing inspection for the various devices, or you've even assigned tasks to various people who are going out to the field, they will actually need to, chances are maybe they have not been to that area, they'll actually need to navigate or even identify which is the shortest route from where we are to the location where we're actually undertaking this task. So the system of engagement provides this. We'll be looking at this shortly. Then being able to understand, using maps to just explore and understand exactly what's happening. And that's the power of location. And that's what we're talking about here today. Then now, ultimately, of course, one of the main things under the system of engagement is now being able to capture, being able to collect the data, being able to do your inspection. If you've sent out your field crews for meter reading or inspecting the various facilities or utilities, then this is now the bit where they need to actually have that information captured. So within the system of engagement, we also have capabilities that will enable you and your team to be able to capture this information. And the beauty is you're actually able to capture the data with the location aspect. Then the other thing is being able to monitor the progress of your team. So assuming you have sent out your team to different areas, maybe you do routine operation, or you even have emergency responses that you're doing, you're actually able to monitor the progress of the team while you're in the office. So that's why we're calling it an integrated field to office kind of a workflow. And the beauty with this also is that you're able to get the information that is collected from the field back in the office in real time. So as soon as that information has actually been collected, you're able to receive that information in the office from the field. And Amalie was actually able to mention how they were able to use Collector and even leverage on the dashboards to do this with their team. So the next bit I'm going to take you through is now basically showing you some of the capabilities that we have under the system of engagement that you can be able to leverage on. So right from the planning phase, where you're planning or you're actually prioritizing the activities you're going to undertake as a team. So we have what we are calling ArcGIS Workforce. So Workforce enables you to be able to prioritize and even assign tasks to members of your team. You can be able to see which members are actually engaged in what activities at what time, and you can actually be able to assign tasks to members of the team who are available at any particular instance. Then we also have Navigator for ArcGIS, basically providing routing to the specific location where you're supposed to be carrying out the various tasks. It could be the routine operation, it could be emergency response, it could be data collection on the different aspects you're interested in as an organization. So this is also one of the capabilities that we have within the platform. Then I also mentioned just being able to explore the content using maps, and we have one of the main capabilities under the Explorer application within the platform. Then we have now the actual data capture that I have mentioned. We have various capabilities within the platform that you can be able to use to capture the data. And I like that Amale mentioned that they've been using Collector extensively, mainly for these for data collection. So we have Collector being one of the main applications that we have. We have Survey 123 if you're looking at a form-centric kind of data collection. And we also have one of the newest applications that we have, which is now ArcGIS Field Maps. And I'll actually be taking you through how you can be able to collect data using the ArcGIS Field Maps. So that's for the data capture bit. Then you can also be able to track and monitor the progress using the various applications. And we have one of the main applications being the ArcGIS dashboards. So as soon as the crew or your inspectors or your water meter readers or whatever people you have sent to the field have collected the data, you're able to receive that information in the office, and you can actually monitor and track progress right from the dashboard back in the office. So ideally, what we are calling the system of engagement is actually enhancing efficiency and collaboration across the different departments, across the different staff within the organization. And the other aspect that I'll also be bringing out in the course of this presentation is how you can also be able to engage members out of the organization. For instance, the customer service or the customer success team will be interested in knowing, are there complaints, are there compliments from the customers, are there emergencies that we need to respond to? So all these will be captured under what we are calling the system of engagement. So one of the main applications that we'll be looking at as we go into the demonstration is the ArcGIS Field Maps application. This is one of the new capabilities that we have within the platform. So this is an all-in-one application that you're able to use to collect, edit, and share information in the field. And we have different, so what this means is that this particular application is actually bringing in various capabilities within the same application. So you have viewing capabilities, you have collecting capabilities, you have tracking capabilities within the same application. And what this application actually does is ensuring high accuracy data collection and inspection, being able to optimize location tracking, and being able to plan and even manage the various tasks that you're assigning to your team. We'll be looking at this shortly as we go into the demonstration. So for enhanced engagement, whether it's inside or within the organization or outside the organization with the various stakeholders and even the customers or even the members of the public, we have a way of enhancing the workflows by pairing the various applications. So for instance, I mentioned being able to capture information in real time, and the people in the office can actually be able to get that information. So for instance, you can have Survey 123, Collector, Field Maps, and that information is actually relayed on the dashboard. Then the other bit is what I mentioned is the workforce, being able to assign tasks to different members of your team and being able to see who's able to work at a particular time. So you can have these, you can pair workforce with the various data collection applications that we have. That's ArcGIS Field Maps, Survey 123, Collector, Navigator, and all that. And then the other bit that I also need to mention is that maybe you need to prepare these the schema for you to be able to collect that data, like what Godfrey showed us, right from the data model. Then we have ArcGIS Pro, and then once you have created your model from ArcGIS Pro, you're able to now publish that, and it can be used in the various applications. So the capabilities of these applications within the platform are actually awesome. You can actually be able to maximize on this to improve collaboration and efficiency. And that's what we are talking about, the system of engagement today. So one of the other things that I need to mention also, just before we get into the demonstration, is what we are calling user types. So for you to be able to use the capabilities within the applications that we have in the platform, we have what we are calling user types. So user types are assigned to members of an organization based on the roles and the responsibilities that they are playing within that organization. So you want to ensure that for the different users and the different roles that they are playing, you actually have the right user type, and the user type that enables them use the various applications. So for instance, we have the viewer user type. So with the viewer user type, this is basically someone who's able to view the content that has been shared by other users within the organization, ArcGIS users. Then we have the editor. So for the editor user type, you're looking at users who will actually be querying or even manipulating some of the data sets that have been shared. Then we have the field worker now. So you have the crew or the inspection officers or the water meter readers or any other officers that you're actually sending to collect data in the field. So you want to ensure that these particular officers have the field worker user type for them to be able to use the various applications that we have within the platform, the applications that I have already mentioned. Then we have the creator user type. So for the creator user type, the creator has basically all the other capabilities I've mentioned: viewer, editor, and field worker. Then lastly, we have the GIS professional. So the GIS professional has the viewer, editor, field worker, creator, and in addition to that, capability to use ArcGIS Pro. ArcGIS Pro is one of the desktop applications that we have, what Godfrey was able to show us. And for this particular one, this corresponds to the different level of the desktop application that you'll be using. So you can have GIS professional, basic, advanced, or standard. So it's important to also know the user type that you will need for you to work with the different applications. So next, I'm gonna just take us through a quick demonstration on how you can be able to use what we are calling the system of engagement to engage the various clients within your organization and outside your organization. So I'm gonna take us through that demonstration. I hope you can see my screen. So this is ArcGIS Online. So I'm going to take us through how you can be able to use this platform, the ArcGIS platform, to engage the various users. So again, I want to mention that whatever we are looking at is actually built on what Godfrey presented under the system of records. And so under the system of records, he was actually able to publish the utility network model that he had created. So the basis of our engagement and everything else will be based on the utility network model that he already published. So within the utility network model, we had different components that Godfrey already took us through. We had the device component, which is one of the main things that I'm mainly going to be interested in for this particular presentation. Let me just find that. So we had different components. So for this particular one, suppose you are working for an organization or you are a utility company, and part of what you do, maybe you have routine inspections that you do. It could be monthly, it could be quarterly, it could be whatever times you do the routine inspections. And you want to have the various officers, the various inspectors going to the field to actually do routine operation of the various assets that you have. So one of the main aspects that I'm going to pick is the electric device aspect. And we have the attribute information that has been captured within the utility network model. That was our system of record. So I'll be able to use this information that was shared with me to be able to create a form within the applications that we'll use for our data collection. So I'm going to just show us one of how you can be able to do this. Sorry for that, just give me a minute. So one of the main applications that I mentioned is the ArcGIS field maps. And even before I go to field maps, I can show you the various applications that we have. So from your organizational account, we have the various applications that you can be able to use to engage your clients or even improve collaboration within the organization. So all the applications that I mentioned are actually here on the app launcher. So we have the different applications, and specifically we'll be looking at workforce, we'll be looking at field maps, we'll be looking at dashboards and all the other applications. So for this particular one, we have one of the new applications, that's the ArcGIS field maps that we'll be using. And I mentioned that this application is now incorporating various capabilities that you can be able to use within the platform. So I'm going to use the map that was published by Godfrey that has the utility network model to create a form within my organization that I'm going to create on my ArcGIS field maps. Sorry. So this is ArcGIS field maps. So I have the different layers of information that have already been captured within our system of record. And for this particular one, I'm just interested in having an application that the various officers who do inspection can actually be able to use when they are going to the field. So I picked the device layer. So with the ArcGIS field maps, you're able to have the information already captured within that particular layer pushed into the form. So we have various templates that you can use, and we have the form that you can now be able to create. So this is a sample of what you can be able to do. So on this other side, it actually has all the information that were within the utility network model. So what you mainly do is when you're designing your form, you'll simply be dragging the particular fields that you're interested in and adding them to the form. And as soon as you're done, you're able to save your form. So I had already done this for the interest of time. So we already have a configured field maps application that we're going to use. So before we even go to the field, the supervisor or the officers in the office will be interested in assigning tasks to various members of the organization so that they can be able to go to the field and collect or actually capture information. So this is ArcGIS Workforce. So within Workforce, I mentioned that you're able to assign tasks to different members of your team and actually be able to track and be able to know who's carrying out different tasks at any given time. So for this particular case, I had created a project that's electric operation and maintenance project. So I'm just going to open this particular project that we have here. So from Workforce, I'm going to assign tasks to members of my team. Yes, so we are here. Just give it a few minutes. So this is Workforce. So I mentioned that with Workforce, you're able to assign and even manage the tasks that your team is undertaking. So I have tasks that have already been assigned to members of my team, but I'll also show you how you can be able to create assignment and assign them to members of your team. So we have this section here for creating assignment. So you can have different types of assignments. You can have the routine inspections that you carry out as an organization. You can have, maybe you're handling customer complaints and incidences. So I'm going to pick the routine operations. Then notice again, I'm going to actually identify or actually define the location where I need these people to be collecting that data. So within my map, I'll actually be able to pick the location where I want these particular people to collect that data. So I've actually indicated the location on the map where they need to do that particular inspection. Then I'm going to pick on members of my team who I'm going to assign those tasks. So I have Godfrey, I have May as members of my team, and I can actually be able to see the members of the team who are currently working and those who do not have any assignments at that particular time. So I can actually be able to see that Godfrey here is actually not working at the moment. So I'm going to assign him this particular task. Then you can actually be able to indicate the priority of the tasks that you're assigning members of your team. So for instance, you can have high priority task, medium priority task, low priority, etc. So for this particular one, maybe this is high priority task. I need this task to be done soonest. Then the due date when this task should be executed, maybe by Friday, and then the exact time when they need to submit that particular task. And then for each task, you can give it a unique ID so that you can be able to track the task that your members are doing. Then you can give a description so that when they receive the assignment on their end, they actually know what is expected of them. So maybe you could indicate this is routine inspection for electric devices or electric assets. So when they get this notification, they'll even be able to get a description of what they're expected of them. Then you can be able to create that particular task. So once I have assigned members of my team the task, they'll actually be able to get a notification on their mobile phone that they have been assigned a task. So I had different tasks here, including a task assigned to myself. So I'm just gonna show you the notification on my screen once that task is assigned to me. So I'm just gonna share my mobile phone screen. Hope you can be able to see it. So I'm just gonna load into Workforce and just see the notification of the task that I have. So again, these applications can be used on different devices. You can use them on your mobile devices. You can use them on various devices, and they support both iOS and Android devices. So I have Workforce within my phone. So I'm just going to look at the tasks that have been assigned to me. So I have electric device inspection being one of the tasks that have been assigned to me. So I'm gonna just click on the task and just see what's expected of me. So suppose you are assigned a task and maybe you're busy or you're engaged with other tasks, you can actually decline. You can pause the task, you can decline the task, you can reset it. And once you are done with the particular assignment that has been given to you, you need to finish that particular task so that your supervisor in the office can actually see that that task has been completed. So for this particular one, I have accepted this particular task, and now I'm going to use ArcGIS field maps to actually collect, or rather to actually inspect the various assets that needs to be inspected within that particular area. So I'll choose open with field maps. Then I'll be able to get the application, I'll be able to get the form that I need to fill. So again, using this application, they're actually able to capture the exact location where you're collecting your data. So this is the beauty with using this particular application. So you can see it's actually captured my exact location. But for the purposes of this demonstration, so that it's able to display on my map, I'm just gonna pick the location where we have our network. So the assumption is that we're actually inspecting data within our network. So I'm going to pick, say, that particular location within our network. So I'm going to add that point. So it's actually picked the location of that particular area. Then when collecting this particular data, we have different assets that need to be inspected. So for this particular one, assuming we are doing an inspection of maybe the high voltage transformers, I'll pick that as a case. So I'll have that. And again, this information had been captured in the utility model. So the domains and whatever information had been captured in the utility model, and that's what I'm using here. Then every asset will have a unique identifier. So I'm going to indicate the asset ID here. Guess we need to just give it a few more minutes. Sorry for that. So you're able to pick the asset ID, you're able to pick the manufacturer of that particular asset that you're inspecting. So again, from the drop down, you can be able to pick the manufacturer of that particular asset, the date that asset was installed. Again, for each and every asset actually has a lifespan. So you want to know when this particular asset was installed and maybe when it needs to be retired. So you need to pick that information about that particular asset. So assuming maybe it was installed on that particular date. Then again, for every asset, as I mentioned, it has a lifespan. So you need to also know the retirement date for that particular asset. So I can just pick a date here, the retirement date for that asset, the in-service date when this asset needs to be serviced. So maybe I can also just pick a date for the purpose of this demonstration. The agency that owns this particular asset, it could be the agency, your agency, or a private agency, or any other agency. So you can be able to indicate that. The agency charged with maintenance, and then you'll be able to give the general note in terms of the condition, because you're doing inspection. You'll be able to indicate maybe the asset is generally in good condition or something like that, then you can be able to submit your inspection. So this is now the field crews who are actually collecting data in the field. So there are people in the office who are now monitoring the various tasks that are being done. So we have a dashboard that is able to show the progress of the tasks that are being done in the field. So for instance, we have the asset inspection dashboard. So this asset inspection dashboard will actually be able to show all the inspections that have been done. For instance, we have 111 inspections that have actually been done in the different areas. And then we have the inspection list. So you can actually get a list of all the places that have been inspected. So I just submitted one. Maybe we can reload this dashboard to just see the new inspection information that has just been collected in the field. So we can just give it a few minutes. Yes, so this is actually captured. Initially we had 111, so we now have 112 inspections that have been done. And if you click on any of the lists here, you can actually be able to see the details about that particular asset that has been inspected. Sorry for that. Let me just cancel this. All right, so if you click on a particular on the list here, you're able to see the location where that inspection was done, and you actually have the pop-up information. Then on this other side, you can actually be able to see the type of asset that was inspected. So for instance, this is a medium voltage transformer, the manufacturer, and even the status of that particular asset. So the people in the office can actually be able to get high-level information of the work that is happening in the field. So this particular workflow depicts the kind of engagement and collaboration that you can have within members of an organization. So the other thing I'd also want to point out is where you actually need to engage maybe the customers or members outside your organization. So we also have applications that you can use to engage members outside your organization. So again, maybe the customer service department or the customer care department is actually interested in getting information or reports from customers. So for the purposes of this demonstration, again, I have a power outage reporter. So this application could be embedded maybe on the organization website or shared in the various social media platforms that customers can actually use to convey the various information. So this is a sample reporter of maybe customers reporting on power outages. So they'll indicate the date, and this will capture the exact date, the current date. So this captures today's date, and then you can indicate your phone number just for easy tracking or someone to even follow up with you. Then the meter number that you're connected to. Then the connection status at that time. So maybe at this particular time you're maybe disconnected. Then you can also have maybe the reason for that outage, maybe how did you maybe experience the outage? Maybe there's a tree that fell on the pole or something like that. So again, the assumption here is that the kind of information or feedback you're getting from the customers is actually very raw kind of feedback. So it's up to now you as an organization to be able to know exactly what could be the reason for this power outage. So maybe tree fell on pole. And then this particular application will also pick the exact location where the customer is actually reporting the incident. Then they'll be able to submit this. So once they have submitted this particular information, again, the people, the customer service department will now be able to get an overview of all the reports that have actually been submitted. So for instance, these are the total number of customers that have reported various incidences or they have given feedback. Then you can also get to know maybe the total outage count, how many outages have we had, the average outage duration, what time did it take before maybe their power was connected back or something like that. So you can actually be able to get information, you can actually be able to engage and get information in this dashboard from your customers. So we're looking at two aspects: being able to improve collaboration and efficiency within the organization, and being able to improve efficiency and collaboration and even engage members outside your organization. So really the essence of this particular session was to show how the system of engagement can be utilized by different utility organizations to improve collaboration and efficiency within the organization and outside the organization. And my colleague will now be taking us deeper into how you're able to reveal, or how you're able to actually reveal insights from this particular information. So thank you so much.